Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Get Ready for Guild Wars 2. My name is Philetic, and I'm here to bring you episode 3. In this episode, we're going to be going over questions, and up until release, we're going to basically be answering questions and any of your thoughts, and going over some of the new updates and what have you that come out, just in preparation for Guild Wars 2. So, the first question here comes from Estrion, and they say that, Philetic, what are your thoughts on World v World gets an underground part? Now, for those who don't know, there was a blog post on the 6th of June which was explaining how World v Worlds in the central map, they get a mini dungeon, and this is beneath the central map. And basically, it says that this brand new subterranean level is full of tricks and traps that can be used against enemy players. It is home to the Applety named Dark Room, which players will have to see or not to believe. So, or not is in brackets in that sentence. So, clearly, it's named Dark Room for a reason, but we're not going to be able to see anything under there, and it's going to be something completely unique. I really feel that basically after the beta weekend, everyone's going to see this, so I'm not going to speculate too much on what it's going to be like. But what are my thoughts that they do get an underground part? Personally, I really like it. I mean, World v World isn't meant for just player versus player. It's supposed to be a sort of almost a role play style. Because I mean, you got to think the game is an MMO RPG, and Arena are really pushing the RPG factor back into MMOs. On this same blog site, they've said that we always wanted additional meaningful content on the World v World maps so that players will always have something to do even if the front line of battle is far away. So obviously a lot of people are going to be playing World v World for the player versus player and to take over keeps and to have these epic battles. But a lot of the times you would, you want something, a bit of diversity. You want to do something a little bit different. And if there's a player versus player element in these underground sort of mini dungeons or mini dungeon, then that'll be awesome as well. So you can take, a bit of a diversion, go into this underground mini dungeon, do a little bit of PvE, which will probably also help out your players who are in the battle above, and it just adds a little bit more to the game. Because just having a world versus world battle where you just have taking keeps and having open field battles, I mean, it's done before. It's not a new idea. It's done in a very new way, but we've had games where it's been like that before. Dark Age of Camelot, Warhammer Online have done it before. So Arena are looking to be unique, and they're adding these little things to give a bit of diversity, so the game's that bit better for everybody. So I don't think we lose anything by it. I don't think it's going to off balance the world versus world content. If anything, it's all good and it's just adding value to the game. So yeah, big thumbs up to the underground mini dungeons that's going to be implemented into the Guild Wars 2. So as well as questions, you can also send in your tips that you like to give everybody. And I have a tip here from Banksteride. I'm going to be really bad at pronouncing names throughout all of this. So Banksteride. Movement is greater than DPS. Better to keep circling and dodging with auto attack for DPS than stand there and use the best DPS rotations. This is especially true for PvE boss fights, as the bosses hit very hard. AoE borders and melee attack facing is quite wide, so on a side of caution when trying to avoid them. Remember which, if any, abilities require you to stand still. You spend a good deal of time running around, so you want to avoid any unpleasant surprises and wasting your cooldowns. And it's a very good point here. If you've played through any of the boss fights currently in Guild Wars 2, you'll realise that if you do stand in the circles, any damage you take, it hits you for a very large amount. And we've all got this mentality of just standing still and using DPS rotations, because in most MMOs we played, that's sort of what we're used to, what our brains are trained to. But in Guild Wars 2 and in a lot of other MMOs that are coming out of late, everybody, the movement in MMOs is coming back. A lot of games are implementing just moving and casting at the same time. And Guild Wars 2, this is one of their major directions in which they want to take the game. Be able to move and cast at the same time. I don't think many abilities you do stand and shoot unless it's sort of a charge ability maybe. But there are very few. So if you do have one, the tip is basically just make sure you know to stand still and don't waste the cooldown, as a lot of boss fights, they don't really require a lot of DPS on, a personal standpoint, because you've usually got a zerg of people taking down the boss. However, the I don't know, the emphasis is on your movement. If you die, you're one less person taking, dealing DPS to the boss. So movement and staying out of those rings of death, if you like, is a very good tip. So yeah, movement is definitely greater than DPS in Guild Wars 2, and this is another point on endgame content as well, because simply it's basically the worry is that all the boss fights are just going to be big zergs, so there's going to be no sort of skill attached, no strategizing. It's literally just going to be moving and staying out of the red circles and not getting hit, and it might get a little bit boring towards the end of the game, just doing the same sort of mechanics in boss fights over and over and over again. So hopefully ArenaNet throwing some diversity there, where maybe you do get a chance to just stand and do some DPS, and then you have to move around, and they just switch it up a bit. But guys, tell me what you think in the comments about this. This is all about discussion and getting to learn more about how to basically play the game properly. So a very good point there. Movement is greater than DPS. And make sure you don't waste any CDs, and definitely move out of those rings of fire. And I know there's going to be that one person who's saying, no, DPS is more important, you definitely need DPS. This is true, because without DPS, the boss wouldn't die. But the factor is, even in other games, you still need to move to get out of circles and what have you. And in Guild Wars 2, they're throwing a hell of a lot of them at you. And there isn't such things as DPS rotations. You sort of just use your skills in the best areas that you need them. So basically, and also you can move and cast at the same time. So you just don't forget to move around and cast your spells at the same time. And if you do have one where you need to stand still, definitely stand still. So that's sort of where we're coming from with saying movement is greater than DPS, because you can move and cast at the same time. So the next question comes in from Mr. Happy Joy Boy, and he is saying, when I played the beta, I saw, for example, a char in a Norn area. No matter how much I searched, I could never figure out how to do this. How do I do this? Oh man, a lot of us are probably feeling sorry for you right now for searching around for the different lands. But I think you can actually get there by foot, but the best way to go to a different race's area is simply to go into the mists, and you can do that by, I think the default key is H, and you go onto the cross swords sort of icon, and you click B in the mists. That will teleport you into the mists area, and then you will see a load of portals around you. If you find the one that takes you to Lion's Arch, then you go through the Lion's Arch portal. If you look at the map, you can go to the you need to travel there first, but basically if you look at the map, you should see a ring of other portals. You run over to that ring of portals, and it will show you all of the race's portals where you can take to get to the home city. So yeah, in quick summary, go to the mists, go to the Lion's Arch portal, and then travel over to the race city portals, which is in Lion's Arch somewhere. I think it's sort of north of where you end up after you go through the portal in the mists. So that's where you go. Yeah, it's pretty simple really. It's one of those things that as soon as you do it once, it's just nice and easy, and it's a nice way to get around. I'm not sure if you can go to the other places on foot. I'm pretty sure you can just go to the rings, outer circles of the map. And remember that in beta, not everywhere is open. So if you're looking to go to the Silvaria or Sora areas, that's why you can't get there, because they're not available just yet. And our final question here is by /8270, and he says, please tell me if I am wrong, you can buy character slots with gold? And to this I tell you yes. If you save up enough gold, you can buy gems, and of course gems is the currency used on the online store, so you can buy gems with gold, and with those gems you purchase, you can then buy character slots. This will probably take you a hell of a long time to get enough gems with your gold, depending on the currency and the market on your server. However, that all depends when the game comes out. But you can, but I'm not sure how easy it would be. That all depends on when the game comes out. So that brings us to an end, guys. Thanks for watching. Remember to leave your questions or comments below. You can also email longer, more detailed questions to philetic@gmail.com or post them on my Twitter. And I will select the best ones and post them up here. The comments questions, I will always do the ones with the most thumbs up. So post your question below. If you agree with the question, if you think it should be answered, give it a thumbs up and I will definitely answer the top question. So guys, thanks for watching and I'll see you in episode 4 for Let's Get Ready for Guild Wars 2. I've been Philetic and I'll see you all next time.